If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have William Knight, the Knightmare, back on the show. He is back in action next Friday, January 24th at CES 60, taking on Rocky Edwards in Lincoln, Rhode Island, live on UFC Fight Pass. William, good to talk to you. How are you?
Good, I'm good. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So we're a little over a week away from this fight, back fighting in New England. How has everything been going in preparation for this one?
It's the same stuff, like back on my grind. Usually when I fight a heavier weight, I don't tend to get lazy, but I tend to not perform at what I'm supposed to because I'm going backwards. So I feel good fighting at my normal 205 weight. The grind is there and the weight is down.
The last time we saw you, something happened that you haven't experienced since May of 2016. You lost an MMA fight. It had been a really long time. I think it was your second amateur fight was the last time you lost an MMA fight, and you took on Tafon Chuki at CFFC 80, and it just wasn't your night in Virginia. But losses happen in this sport. It's just a part of MMA. What went wrong from your perspective in that fight back in November?
Nothing happened. Really, the ref stopped the fight because he told me the other two fights he didn't stop on time. He let people get a beating. So me being under the UFC development contract, it was like he was trying to protect me. And then my thing is, if you're going to say you're going to ask warning, give warnings before you stop the fight. Do your job. I got no warning, nothing. He just stopped the fight. I looked at him like, why are you stopping the fight? I thought that something was going on, like maybe I got hit in the back of the head. But he was like, he waved it off. I'm like, why are you waving off the fight? So then he was like, I thought you were knocked out. I'm like, knocked out? I was transitioning into my freaking takedown. I trapped the leg, as you see in his little video. I trapped the back leg, the same thing I did with Terrence. Then I reach for the other leg, and then I barrel roll into you. You have nowhere to go but down. So that was what was going on, and then it was like, damn. We stopped the fight, but it is what it is. I put myself in that situation. I always put myself in a dangerous situation, but it's just a premature stop. I'm not worried about it.
Not fresh. Were you frustrated? I mean, obviously you were frustrated after the fight, but did you get over it really quickly, or did you remain frustrated for a few days after?
Right then and there, when he apologized, saying he made a mistake, that put in my perspective that I didn't fail at what I was doing. So that instant moment, I clapped for my opponent, gave him a hug, and that was it. I didn't sit there, show no temper, nothing. I'm like, congratulations to you, shook his hand, went about my business.
So just a learning experience, not even a real loss, technically, in your opinion. Just a loss, on the Tapology page, but not in your heart and soul.
I mean, you can count it as a loss. I want people to see it, let them feel as if they have, okay, this kid has lost. The same thing with when I fought in 2016, that same fight where I thought I won. The rules of the casino, the no ground and pound and all that stuff, when I was amateur in that mental state, when I hear no ground and pound, I'm waiting for my opponent to stand. There were many opportunities I could have just threw punches when my opponent went to stand, leaving that head open. But I'm sitting there learning. I learned then and I learned now. Now, after that fight, as you see, I didn't let my fights go to the judges anymore, other than Jorgen's. Jorgen, when we fought, that shit went to the judges. That dude has a chin on him. And then after that, I ain't let it go to the judges. You guys see the pattern. So now, not only if the judges can determine my outcome, the ref can determine my outcome too. So all I told my coach is, he's like, what do you learn from that? I'm like, just don't put myself in bad positions, man. I like to go into danger because if anyone sees most of my fights, anyone that's fighting, I don't care who it is, when they feel like they're dominating an opponent, they make big mistakes, and that's when I capitalize on those mistakes. As you see in my October fight, this guy kept putting me in submissions over submissions, and then I capitalized on when he tried to put me in a guillotine. I jumped over, so when I stepped over and hopped, it was ground and pound from there. I could have easily got choked out, put out. The ref could have stopped the fight because I was in a bad position, but that wasn't the case. So when I lost to this guy who didn't take it as anything, I really didn't give a shit. He didn't stop me. He didn't make me verbally tap. He didn't make me tap to no strikes. He didn't achieve a TKO. I got up, beautiful face, no damage taken, and on to the next.
Well, that's the beauty about this developmental contract too. Is one, you sort of knew you were going to be fighting on this card anyways in January, and two, you get to fight as often as as you physically can. So you could fight every weekend if you wanted to, and now you get to get right back at it next week for CES. How excited are you to get back in there and just fight?
Woo! I don't think people realize CES to me. CES is a big deal to me because they don't sit here and pick and choose sides. They pick two guys that are gonna fucking fight, put them in there, and the outcome is the outcome. That's what I like about this. There's not one-sided or this sided. It's literally, you literally get to challenge yourself. So with CES, I'm happy to get back in that cage. That cage has been a blessing. I've been wanting to get in that cage forever, and now it's gonna be my third time in that cage. I'm pretty happy. Like, y'all, I wish you guys could see how hard I'm grinding, so y'all could see me what I really truly look like at 205. Like, I'm grinding. I just finished training not too long ago.
So you're ready to go. Let's just do this thing. You wish it was tomorrow.
Yo, tell me about it. I thought it was. I'm like, yo, this week. My coach is like, no, next week. I'm like, no, it's this week. But I guess this week is UFC. Next week is CES. I was so mad.
Oh no. Oh man, especially the way you like to do things and just get after it real quick. Oh man, that must have been a real bummer. It was probably worse than the loss.
You're right, man. You can't tease me like that, man. I'd be like, like right now I'm in that frustration mode. Like, yo, another week, another freaking week.
You will get there in a week. It'll go by real quick, and you're going to fight Rocky Edwards. And what's crazy about Rocky Edwards is that he used to be a welterweight before making his way up to middleweight. Now he's going to be fighting at light heavyweight. He's got experience. He's been in there with some guys who are currently in the UFC, but good test in terms of experience. It should be a fun little fight between the two of you guys. I suspect the opponent didn't matter all that much, however, so that's probably the way you look at this fight. Like, I don't care who it is, let's just go.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that do know who he is, they're like, yo, this dude's a black belt and this, that, and third. I'm like, oh my God. I don't care. Like, stop telling me about the opponent. Like, I'm here thinking, like, you're coming to talk to me about tickets or training with me. You're telling me about my opponent. I don't want to hear about my opponent. That's his problem. He comes with his P's and Q's ready, A+ on his report card. Let's get it done. That's it. I'm going out there myself. I'm not worried about my opponent. I can't worry about him. I got to worry about myself.
You mentioned that CES, about the test, they put two guys in there, you go to battle, and one man walks out of the cage with a win. In terms of like the regional aspect of it, being where you're from, is it almost like a grassroots experience fighting for CES? Like, do you get a little almost I don't know if nostalgic's the right word, but you know where I'm going with this? Like, being at home fighting for CES, is it just a different feeling than fighting for anybody else?
Yeah, it's a different feeling. Like, when I travel, it's not really I don't know. I feel like I could get energy from your surroundings. I don't get that vibe like in New York. I don't get that vibe in Rhode Island, like those areas when I was going out far. But this Rhode Island near this casino, a lot of Connecticut people are there. So I sit here and I'm like, you know what? This is cool because now that's closer, like Mohegan, my people are able to go, and it's like a different energy. When I was in Virginia, November, like I didn't feel that until after the fight. After the fight, everybody booed the decision. Military people were like, yo, that was bullshit. You got people coming up to me like, yo, that was crazy. I feel like you got set up. I had people coming to me saying, yo, they were on one side already. Like, they one-sided that. Like, you were in a position that they could have stopped it where there could have been no argument. I got dudes telling me, trying to break down what they feel. Not one person said, damn, dude, you got your ass whooped. Every one of them came to me like, yo, man, that's crazy. We were waiting for your fight. They played you. They did you dirty. I'm sitting here like, it is what it is, man. On to the next. I'm healthy. Nothing's wrong with me. Not a scratch. Nothing. I'm just ready to go. And then they were like, yo, man, I want to see you fight so bad. Like, I'm just mad. That was the fight I was waiting for. I had to tell my girl that I was still out just so I could see this fight. I know she's going to be mad. Like, dudes like that, I'm sitting here cracking up. I'm like, it's cool, man. Y'all see me fight again. They're like, yo, that jumping knee you did on Contender Series. I was like, yo, y'all bringing it back to August? I'm like, yo, these dudes have really been watching me. So
you got fans,
to
William.
Go to the home, yeah, to go to the hometown of a fighter and they boo him, they boo the decision, that right there was like, yo, they love me, man. They it's a different feel out here. And that's when I got that crazy burst of energy, but it was too late then.
Well, now you get to be the hometown guy, and they'll be cheering you, of course. How do you get this thing done? How do you see it going down next Friday?
So next Friday, I'm just going to let y'all know exactly how it's going to go. Me at 205, I do have a disadvantage in height, but what people don't realize is I'm very explosive and fast. I'm reactive, so I'm going to keep it standing. If it goes to the ground, then cool, but I'm so used to going to the ground that I want to experience something else. I want to keep it standing. If it goes to the ground, cool, I'll keep it standing as much as possible, but I want to display my striking. I know my hands are dangerous. I know they're dangerous. And Friday, I promise you, next week will be a standing knockout. I promise you this.
You heard it here. A promise from William Knight. A standing knockout, CES 60 on UFC Fight Pass. I want to ask you about this because this is going to be your third fight on this developmental deal, and you're approaching this thing with a great mentality, with a line them up, let's do this as often as possible type of mentality. Is there a certain number of fights on these developmental deals? Like, I know they could pull you up and pull you on a UFC card whenever they see fit, but is there like a number attached to it in terms of how many fights are on it, or is it just keep going, keep taking fights until we exercise that option?
So I'm signed up to 8 fights. So at any moment, so I have 8 fights. I'm on fight number 3, and yes, at any moment they can pull me off the card. This is true. They could pull me off the contract and say, hey, you're fighting UFC Boston or UFC New York, and then that's the end of the contract. But what people don't realize is I love what's going on. I love the development contract. People don't realize this development contract gives me crazy opportunity. I get to train locally. I don't have to go out nowhere. I have to go on a plane for 10 hours, 8 hours, 16 hours in different countries, the whole nine. I get to stay locally, grind my ass off with the people that know me best, go out there and perform. I love this shit. Like, it's not a bad thing, especially for someone who's been in the fight game less than 3 years. Like, 3 years of totaling up come November around there. Like, I'm a baby to the sport. Respect that. My body may not look it, but I'm a baby to the sport. I'm still learning. I'm still grinding.
With it being a new year now, it's 2020. What's your 2020 resolution in the fight game? Like, if we have this conversation 1 year from right now, what are we talking about?
A year from now, dead ass, a year from now, 2021.
2021.
Fighting at least fighting top 15 in the UFC. That list is small, man. They need them 205ers. That list is small. So this is what it is. If that's not the case, then CES belt. Those belts are looking beautiful. People don't realize that 205 title for CES is real lonely. It needs some love, man. It needs some attention.
Needs to be cuddled. Needs a hug.
Cuddled and polished. Like, it's just sitting there lonely.
Needs to be treated right. Flowers, candy, candlelight.
For real, I need that. Need that gold. That's a little setback. That November was that little setback. I believe if November didn't happen, I would be fighting for the CES belt.
Well, the year is young, William. The year is young. So I think we will see you fighting for that belt this year. If they don't pull you up.
Man. But I hope, man. Again, there's a couple names, man. There's a couple names, but there's a couple. Man, I don't call names because when you call names, then they start to run.
Touche.
Last time I did that Last time I did that, I put a couple of names out there. A bunch of people online went crazy. They were talking shit. They got mad. I'm like, dang, these are the top 10 guys I want to fight. And y'all getting mad because I tagged your name. So,
what a world.
We'll just leave it as whoever they give me. But you already know I like to fight the top region guys, man. I don't want nothing at the bottom of the pool. Unless it's UFC, clearly. We got to start from the bottom. But I need like top 5 people. Top 5.
Well, it all starts next Friday, CES 60, big-time card on UFC Fight Pass, and I'm really looking forward to this one. William, always appreciate the time, man. Before we let you go, let the folks know where they can find and follow you on the web, social media, any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest, man. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man. You can find me on Facebook as William Knight, clearly, my name. Then my fight page is Knightmare. My Instagram is SSJ Knightmare. Well, SSJ_Knightmare. And then my Snapchat, Knightmare. That's where most of my videos play. I play most of my videos on there, like little clips when I'm warming up or fighting, whatever the case may be. Shout out to my team, Iron Will Fitness, Thornton's Mixed Martial Arts and Fitness. Want to give them a shout out. And like my teammates, everyone that grinds with me, the little guys that take all that damage, everybody, just everyone that supports me.
Thanks again, man. All the best to you next Friday. Looking forward to it.
Definitely. Can't wait.